So I really want to have a conversation about type 2 diabetes. Um, I feel like so many people don't take it seriously. It is seen as, oh, it's just a little sugar. It's not really that serious. Diabetes is very serious. And as a type 2 diabetic who has seen countless relatives pass away, die, friends die from this disease, I can tell you that it's very serious. As someone who has seen countless people lose limbs and lose their eyesight and have to go on dialysis because they have kidney failure as a result of being a type 2 diabetic, I'm telling you, it is very serious. It's like, you wonder what you can do to make people understand how serious it really is. It's a chronic disease that can be managed, but a lot of people don't manage it at all or pretend that they don't have it. And I'm one of those people who was in denial about having it years ago. I believe that I was pre-diabetic in my 20s. And right on the cusp of turning 40, I was diagnosed with diabetes. But it took me getting the flu and winding up really sick because of super high blood sugar and winding up in the hospital because my immune system was down because my blood sugar was so high, and then landing in the hospital for a couple of days and learning that yes, you do have diabetes. We just had Biz Markie to pass away from being a type 2 diabetic, but it's not just him, it's countless people, celebrities, people who are famous, people who are not famous, everyday people like you and I who are succumbing to this disease. I have a friend whose brother just recently had all of his toes amputated and still continues to eat high-fat foods, fast food, cake, pie, cookies, in abundance. I am one of those types of diabetics. I have slashed my A1C in half. I've managed to get my blood pressure down. I've managed to get my cholesterol down. And I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect diabetic. I enjoy a treat every now and then. I love to make treats for friends and families. But although my mantra is everything in moderation, I know that I can't eat, a couple of pieces of cake, half of a cake, a couple of bowls of ice cream, a huge bowl of ice cream. I know that if I have ice cream, it needs to be like a scoop or two. If I have a piece of cake, one little piece of cake, and that's it. And every now and then, not every day. I have seen so many of my friends, Facebook friends off of Facebook, relatives, losing toes, losing their feet, losing their eyesight, kidneys failing. One of my uncles who passed away in 2018, and once he started getting sick, he went downhill very quickly. Come to find out he was diabetic and was not aware of it. And I had been telling him for months to go get tested for diabetes because it runs in our family. In fact, it runs on both sides of my family, mom and dad's, maternal and paternal. And he never did. Blood pressure out of control. Kid had already had kidney disease from birth, and he didn't have a chance with the high blood sugar. By the time he got admitted to the hospital, things were so bad, and he just went downhill, and he passed away within a week or two. But we have to start having a conversation about risk factors. You see that I'm not an obese person. I actually lost weight and still became type 2 diabetic, a type 2 diabetic, even after losing over 60 pounds. I used to be over 200 pounds. And even after I lost weight, I still became a type 2 diabetic. There are some people who lose weight and are able to reverse the diabetes, or have pre-diabetes and are able to do things so that they don't become diabetic. Hindsight is 2020. Looking back when I was in my 20s, could I have been able to reverse it? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I know that I did grow up in a household where nutrition was not an option, because we were just trying to survive. And I don't blame my mom or my grandmom or anybody. They cooked what they had. They cooked what they were taught to cook. When they saw me drinking soda after soda after soda, and everybody in the house was just doing nothing but drinking soda after soda after soda, fruit punch. Most everything was fried, and we had a lot of vegetables, collard greens and this and that, but when you're having fried pork chops or fried chicken and macaroni cheese with all that butter and eggs and all that in it, and you're drinking sodas day in, day out, and cakes and pies and cookies and this and that, and suffering from food addiction because your life is at home, the household is so dysfunctional and toxic, you don't think about, wow, I might develop diabetes later in life, and this runs through my family, and I'm seeing uncles pass away from diabetes. It could happen to me. You really don't think about it when you're a kid and when you're a teenager and when you're young. But we have to start, and I'm not saying go on the nutrition patrol, but we have to start being more cognizant of what we put into our bodies. And this is not preaching. This is coming from somebody who walks the walk and is totally not perfect. For the longest time, I was in denial about being a diabetic. I didn't want to admit that I could be one. Even though I was urinating a lot, my vision was getting blurry, I had that fruity breath, my skin was changing, getting very dry, I was getting frequent infections, all types of things that pointed to me having diabetes. And like I said, it took a situation where I landed in the hospital very, very sick with blood sugar over 450 at 147 pounds at the time. Not even 147. I think I was like 140 pounds. Losing weight, urinating, dehydrated, sick. That's what it took for me. And even after I was diagnosed, I still went back to some of my old ways. I wanted to have fun. I didn't want to have this disease, and guess what? It showed me. Some of the things that happen when you are in denial about being a diabetic, or you won't admit that you have it, and you just do what you want to do, eat what you want to eat, don't take care of yourself. The things that happen to you are horrific. For me, it scared me straight. And like I said, although I'm not perfect, there's no way I would go back to the way that I was. Knowing that I was diabetic and just ignoring it and thinking, it's not that bad. I'm okay. I look okay. It's going to be all right. I can just do what I want to do, because you really can't. You won't be here. And if you are here, being reckless with your nutrition, blood sugar out of control, all that, believe me, your quality of life is not going to be the best at all. And you will steadily decline. This is one of the things that I have talked to some friends until I'm blue in the face. And I'm like, you do have to read labels. You do have to eat in moderation. You do have to move your body and exercise. You can't do what you want to do. You might have to go on meds. I did not want to go on insulin. That was my main thing. I come from a family of substance abuse and very close relatives on heroin. So I did not want to inject insulin. Not only is there a stigma with needles, but psychologically, that was something that I was not going to do. But insulin has helped me. Some people need insulin, some people don't. The pills have helped me, metformin. Some people need metformin, some people don't. Some people can not do medication altogether and just do diet. And then there's those of us who have to do meds. Even if it's a low dose of insulin or a lower dose of pills. But I'm doing what I have to do to stay relatively healthy and be here. Because my life prior to insulin and after insulin is two totally different things. And also my life prior to the mindset that I had when I was just, whatever, doing what I wanted to do. And now, two totally different things. If you have risk factors and if you're having symptoms, it's not always obesity, but a lot of times it is extra weight, 50 and 60 pounds and all that and more. If you are consuming a lot of sugar, salt, all of that stuff goes hand in hand. Diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol are, I call it the unholy trinity that will send you to your grave. And if it doesn't send you to your grave, it will make you lose your sight, make your kidneys fail, and it will cause you to lose limbs. So there's no way I can mention type 2 diabetes without also mentioning uncontrolled blood pressure, which has killed so many people that I know, including my grandmother, diabetes and high blood pressure. My dad, severe high blood pressure, in addition to a host of other demons that he was plagued by. Aunts and uncles, countless relatives, countless friends, strokes, heart attacks. And you say, oh, you know what, that sounds depressing and it sounds bleak. Guess what, it is. We have to take this disease more seriously. And if just one person watches this, then I will feel blessed. If I've touched just one person and can keep one person from becoming a type 2 diabetic or from dying or losing limbs, etc., then I will feel blessed. Like I said, no preaching here because I most definitely am not perfect. And I went through a period of time where I was totally in denial about being a diabetic because emotionally and psychologically, I was not ready to accept it. But guess what? My body made me accept it. If you are urinating a lot, becoming dehydrated, blurry vision, fruity breath, very overweight to obese, which, like I said, not always, because you have some very thin diabetics as well. Skin changes, your skin becoming dry, fungal infections for us women. I have not had a yeast infection in a number of years, but when I was going around doing whatever I wanted to do with high glucose out of control, I had a yeast infection nonstop. And the yeast infections that you get as a diabetic are not anything like a regular yeast infection. They are like a yeast infection from hell. If you get them, you will know. If you have uncontrolled glucose, men and women, but especially women, if you're getting frequent yeast infections, that is a sign that your glucose is out of control and that you could be pre-diabetic or diabetic. But if you even suspect, don't wait. Go get tested. They will give you a fasting glucose test. You won't be able to eat, but you will have some peace of mind knowing for sure whether you are diabetic or not. Y'all will see me on here cooking, and smiling and laughing. Let me tell you something. Type 2 diabetes is something that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. I have my good days and I have my bad days, but I don't complain because there's a lot of people who are no longer here to complain or have no mobility, no sight. Their quality of life is such that they can't even enjoy it. So I try not to complain. As long as God gives me life and breath, I'm going to be here, and I'm going to try, as imperfect as I am, I'm going to keep trying. Move your body. Be aware of what you put into it. Be aware of symptoms when you feel off and you don't feel right. Another thing that diabetes does to you is it makes you uncontrolled glucose. When it's not controlled, you are so tired. And I don't mean just fatigued. I mean to the point where you feel like you can't move to do anything. Every little thing exhausts you. So if you're having symptoms like that, please go and get checked. I know it's hard because a lot of people don't have health insurance. It's just, a mess with the healthcare system. It still is. But there's no way that you can have this disease and just continue to eat what you want, everything that you want, huge portions of cakes and pies and things like that. I'm telling you, it's going to backfire on you. And I know from experience. This is not someone talking who is just saying this is what's going to happen. I have lived it and still do. Even though I have controlled glucose and controlled blood pressure, I still have numbness and tingling, neuropathy, nerve damage in my feet, in my hands. I have been, when I was teaching with my class and we're doing circle time and I'm clapping my hands and I couldn't even feel my hands, but that was when I had uncontrolled glucose. However, even on insulin and meds, exercising, trying, I still have issues with neuropathy and nerve damage. So I'm not going to go on any further. Just to say, you guys out there, friends, family, strangers, whomever, if you even suspect that you have type 2 diabetes or diabetic, type 2 is adult onset diabetes. Type 1 is usually like a juvenile diabetes that you get before the age of 40. Adult onset is exactly what it says. Usually you are an adult, middle-aged adult when you become a type 2 diabetic. And educate yourself about the disease. It's not a death sentence at all, but it's something that you can't ignore. I wish you guys the best. Type 2 diabetes awareness. Everybody needs to be aware, especially if it runs on both sides of your family, even one side of your family, but especially both. You need to be aware of your glucose, your blood pressure, your cholesterol. All three are very, very important. And if you have type 2 diabetes, it exacerbates any type of pre-existing health condition that you may have. Even your immune system suffers. Even on medications and with controlled glucose, your immune system still suffers because of being a type 2 diabetic. Like I said, it's a chronic illness that can be controlled, but you have to acknowledge that you have it first, and you have to take the steps to at least try to maintain this chronic illness. All right, y'all. That be more. Check out. Peace and love and blessings. Take care. Bye.